certainly helps if you're in a market that free agents want to go to, if you have opportunity from a financial standpoint to pay good free agents. But certainly as coaches and as former players, I want to see roster expansion. I want to see us be able to really have the opportunity to develop young players and young talent. There are a lot of players who have potential to play in our league that just don't have opportunity because there's not enough spots. And because when you're holding an 11, 12-man roster, you got to have players who can impact right away. We've seen it from an injury standpoint. We've had to go the hardship route a number of times. If you have more roster spots than there.
For Team USA, everything changed just a moment ago. And by everything, I mean it. Right now, fans all throughout the nation are in complete shock. The locker room is trembling. Social media is ablaze. And the same question is being asked by everyone in the basketball world. Did the most well-known player in women's basketball, Caitlin Clark, actually leave Team USA? This is when things get even more bizarre. Did the legendary Sue Bird offer a suitable apology? We're dissecting all the rumors, the tension that has been growing behind closed doors, the officials' deafening silence, the politics that no one wants to discuss, the favoritism that supporters have been pointing out for months, and the startling new report that suggests the so-called UConn Mafia inside Team USA may have finally gone too far. It appears that Caitlin Clark exclaimed, "Enough is enough." At this precise time, I'm over this. Click the like button immediately before we get deeper into this whole mess, because what you're about to hear will completely alter your perception of Team USA basketball. According to insiders, there was significant tension there from the first day of training camp. A night might cut it. The most watched, adored, and talked about player on the planet at the moment, Caitlin Clark, entered a room full of luminaries, seasoned veterans, and personalities who had already chosen how things should go. And that's precisely where it all began. Fans saw the bench turmoil right away. The so-called quiet rivalry, which wasn't loud or aggressive but was horribly, painfully obvious to everybody watching, was captured on camera. In every interaction, you could definitely sense it. According to insiders, there has been a complete change in attitude since day one. It is being referred to by fans as obvious, shameless contempt. Reporters are cautiously referring to it as internal dynamics and politics. Here's the problem, though. There is one thing that is certain. Caitlin Clark experienced it from the moment she entered that facility, regardless of who you ask. Was it strategy, then? Were some athletes being shielded by favoritism? Was it the ego of veterans who felt in danger? Take a moment to consider that.
On it, because Sue Bird was kind of like a new generation type thing. It kind of centralized the process. There was a lot of shady means last year with just multiple people involved. Everyone throwing up their hands saying it wasn't them. And now with Sue Bird there, you got a square person that's running things. Like on the men's side, you got Grant Hill. Prior to that, you had Jerry Colangelo. And in this situation with Gino Auriemma, Sue Bird, is the UConn Mafia about to try to move Caitlin Clark out the way for Paige Bueckers at the point guard position?
However, this is precisely what insiders have been discreetly discussing for months, and it is beginning to make a lot of sense. Some Team USA decision-makers, who held actual authority behind the scenes, favored maintaining the previous structure, the system they were familiar with and in charge of. Instead, several of them actively desired Paige Bueckers to be the program's future face. The tremendous glare and intense media pressure that Caitlin carried with her everywhere she went were disliked by some. Some people really believed that she was too well-known, too quick, and too much attention all at once. This is where it gets insane. You could actually feel the entire room change whenever Caitlin Clark touched a basketball during warm-ups or practice. Instantly, the energy shifted. What causes that to occur? Whether people like it or not, she is the sport's future. Networks are desperate for her ratings. Sponsors are throwing money at her because she is the revenue. She is the cultural phenomenon that goes beyond basketball. Additionally, some individuals, including very significant individuals, were simply unprepared for it. They weren't ready to relinquish authority. Sue Bird, one of the greatest players in history, reportedly had some worries. Not because of Caitlin's skill. Let's be honest about it, but let's also talk about the intense pressure and media circus that accompanied her. Bird made a statement in a recent interview that initially seemed harmless. Players need time, space, and protection from unrealistic expectations placed on them too early, she stated. Fans, however, heard it entirely differently. They heard something quite different. They have heard that we are having trouble with Caitlyn's hype. All of a sudden, the story really took off on sports talk shows and social media. Caitlyn and the squad are not what Sue Bird wants. Every opportunity she gets, Sue Bird is deliberately preventing her from moving forward.
You never address the things that these players have done to contribute to any negativity around the league. You never do that. It took Nafisa Collier getting taken out for the remainder of the postseason for you guys to finally say something about the refs. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? The players are the ones who had Caitlin Clark as the most flagrantly fouled player in the league. That was the players. Don't make that about fans. The organization, there's been organizations such as the Indiana Fever who lied and hid injuries about Caitlin Clark the whole time, all while using her to sell tickets and saying she's game to game and day to day for months.
Get this now. It is believed that the seasoned, well-established players with years of combined experience are criticizing CC. Perhaps there was a misunderstanding between the various organizations. Perhaps comments that were taken out of context were misinterpreted. Perhaps it was just weeks of building anxiety that eventually exploded into something tangible. Whatever it was, though, it started a fire that the employees were no longer able to contain. Through social media and basketball circles, a rumor began to spread like wildfire. Stephanie White allegedly disclosed to someone in a media room, possibly informally or off the record, that Team USA's real decision-makers were seriously considering taking Caitlyn out of crucial games and rotations. Was it true? The internet heard it even though no one really acknowledged it on the record, and it completely blew up. Fans demanded answers and were enraged. The players were really perplexed by what was going on. Reporters persisted in asking employees for accurate responses and explanations. Team USA declined to remark and remained utterly mute. And here's the thing. That quiet conveyed a very significant message to the entire planet. Behind those closed doors, there was undoubtedly a severe problem. Next is the nearly unimaginable portion. After one last filming session, where Cece was allegedly harshly criticized for things she didn't even do, things that weren't her responsibility, Caitlyn finally SN, not angrily, not dramatically, but firmly and professionally, according to several anonymous sources who are actually present. If this is how I'm actually valued here, then I'm done with this, she allegedly declared after surveying the room. Everybody in the room froze. Some were unable to make eye contact and just stared at the ground. Some others were completely unaware of how disrespectful she felt the entire time. Several stories claim that numerous people were really relieved that someone had finally expressed what everyone was thinking. Caitlin Clark left the room. The employees panicked right away, frantically trying to figure out what to do. Veterans understood all of a sudden that they had gone too far. And that's precisely when it took place. When everything changes.
Wasn't paying attention then, but now the young white girl comes along and y'all want to sit up there and shower all of this praise and all of this attention that was earned before she ever came along. The resentment is understandable, but it's not about Caitlin Clark. It's about what she represents. My point is, grow up. Who cares? If you're Magic and Bird, that didn't stop Jordan from coming along and doing what he did.
And as far as I was concerned, I was just glad to know eventually I wasn't the only girl playing basketball and balling, and playing at a high level. But it's been a blessing just to watch the women grow and watch the women find their voices, use their platforms, and finally get paid.
Right.
That's been, if anything, the flowers for me is to see their achievements now.
You recently coached the WNBA All-Star game. You spent some time with Caitlin Clark.
Best coaching job ever.
Best coaching job
Best
ever.
coaching job ever.
Being around Caitlin Clark, how was the experience for her? She's such a big star. I mean, the sky's the limit for her. To be around her,
You weren't paying attention back then, but now that the young white girl has appeared, you want to sit up there and give her all the love and praise that she deserved before she even appeared. It makes sense to be resentful, but it has nothing to do with Caitlin Clark. It has to do with what she stands for. I'm trying to tell you to mature. If you're Magic and Bird, so what? Jordan continued to do what he did in spite of this. As for me, I was really relieved to see that I wasn't the only girl who was playing basketball and ball at a high level. However, simply witnessing the ladies develop, discover their voices, utilize their platforms, and eventually receive compensation has been a blessing. Yes. Seeing their accomplishments has been, if anything, the roses for me. The WNBA All-Star Game was just coached by you. You were with Caitlin Clark for a while. The best coaching position ever. The greatest coaching position ever. The greatest coaching position ever. Caitlin Clark's presence. How did she find the experience? She is a huge celebrity. The possibilities for her to be around her are endless. Only reports from late at night.